Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Saturday night Talking Town. We are here to discuss a 5-star evening for the Super Blues. Ipswich Town, of course, beating Sheffield United 5-0. And I'm joined, as you saw in the intro, by Matt Phillips and somebody who hasn't got a picture. Or I haven't got a picture of him, rather, so he can't go on the intro just yet, but is, of course, Mr. Lee Anderson. We want your comments tonight. We want your thoughts, your opinions, your questions. There's a live poll currently running in our chat, and it's currently 50% people saying one game at a time. Gave them three options: automatic promotion back on, playoffs, or one game at a time. And they've so far said one game at a time. So if you're watching live, get involved with the poll. And we are partnered with Match Bingo and Stomach Osteopaths. But I'd like to kick things off, win, lose, or draw, with Town in 60. This is quite simple. I just want your Town truth. Now, obviously, we've just won 5-0, so it should be really positive. It should be a bit passionate. It should be a bit over the top, if anything. But whatever you want to say about your football team in 60 seconds or less. Lee, I know you've made notes, so I think I'll hand the baton to you first. Oh, Lee, 60 seconds are yours, my friend. Your Town in 60.
We've arrived, haven't we?
We've arrived.
We've got all this transfer saga out the window, and we've got a squad. And what hell of a squad we've now got for the championship. What a bench we have. It's unreal when you see what came on at 70 minutes. That's my notes out the window already. But just on the game, I see similarities back to League One, where we're going to be a dominant force in a lot of games. We've got to be patient. Teams are going to sit in. Yesterday, the first half was similar, but we played on the counter-attack. We've now got players that can play forward quickly, and we can hit teams on the counter-attack. Look at all the goals, and including winning the ball back in midfield and countering quick. And that's where Philogene has improved, because he's got space and time to run at defenders one-on-one. Second half, started slowly, got the second goal, got the third goal, and then we make all the changes come on, and we just carried on where it left off, and could have been more.
Excellent. All right, there's your 60 seconds. IGFC Beer says Greaves was decent yesterday. Gavin, wow, what a win. We kicked things off with Town gifting one Talking Town membership. Town, thank you so much. And Dom Dean on Wednesday's show, right at the last minute, as I pressed the outro button, gifted 5 Talking Town memberships. I want to make sure I shout out Dom Dean for his generosity. Appreciate you, Dom. Mike, Jaden, and Leaf worked well. They worked really well. That was Lee's. All right. We've arrived, said Lee, Matt Phillips. We've arrived. I'm not going to ask you right path of wilderness. That's Wednesday's show. I want to hear your Town truth. What went well, the tactics, the players, the fans, whatever you want to say about your football club in 60 seconds. It's yours now, my friend. Take it.
I think it's just all about the result, isn't it? It's alleviated pressure. There's two monkeys off our back now. We finally won a game at home for the first time since December in the league, certainly. So that's 9 months. And we finally got a win in this campaign. So it alleviates that pressure. And, we know what fans are like. They're fickle, up and down. Even yourself, Martin. You're now saying automatic promotion is back on whilst we're sitting in 14th. But it was great. And that it was the perfect opposition, wasn't it? This has happened a lot in Ipswich history, hasn't it? You remember after the fallout in League One, who came along? Forest Green Rovers, one of we stick five or six past them that evening. That last night was the perfect opposition for us. In it's a misfiring Sheffield United, loads of question marks over their manager. I see Chris Wilder's being linked as a return again today. It's just like, and who couldn't have forecast that in the summer? I think we said that ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect opposition for us. They've scored as many goals as they've had on target away from home. That Tom Cannon shot last night that Palmer saved was their first shot on target away from home. So it was great. And of course, you've got now the emergence of Philogene, where we said he'd looked really good in pre-season, gets injured at Auxerre. Suddenly went back to Philogene of January to May last season, where he'd gone off the boil. So if anyone's worried about who's going to fill the Amari Hutchinson-shaped hole that's left in our squad, Jaden delivered in spades. Jaden Philogene.
Jaden Philogene, exactly. And Mark says, what an amazing performance. Okay, they're bottom of the league, but we all played and linked together, especially in the second half. And Matt, you mentioned about automatic places are back on, and that's the feeling, right? And it was euphoric feeling, and you mentioned that the last time we won at Portman Road was Chelsea. I've got a question for you because it wasn't answered in my little match reaction piece last night. When was the last time we had a clean sheet? When was the last time you saw Town keep a natural clean sheet? I couldn't remember it. Sat in my car last night. I still can't remember it. Sat in my office. 24. I'm not very good at maths. However many hours later. What about you?
Last home win.
When
was it Chelsea?
Chelsea.
Was it actually Chelsea? Was that the last time?
We didn't have a 0-0 after that. We didn't have a 0-0 after
right.
that.
That in itself, boys, deserves its own show.
Yeah,
that in itself.
Brighton away was a clean sheet, and Chelsea. I think that's it. I think that is it. There's someone can tell us in the comments. Yeah, I mean, look, it's great to haul up the goals, isn't it? Chalk up 5-star performance, like you say. But you just wanted Ipswich to get that again, Lee. That's like another boost for the defence, isn't it? Much maligned last season. You want O'Shea and Greaves. I've said at the top of this season, Greaves and O'Shea look like strangers. But again, 5-0 win, clean sheet for them. Palmer, everyone else involved. Again, it's a boost of confidence, isn't it?
It is a huge boost of confidence, Lee. And you know, got Mark Smith in the chat saying the ground was shaking. It really was bouncing, and it always is when you're going to score 5 goals, you know, because it's that party, it's that euphoric. We even got the old return of when the goalkeeper takes his goal kicked. I've not heard that in absolutely years. It used to be a really big, well, it felt like a really big thing watching like the season reviews growing up as a kid of the 80s, 90s, but never heard it in a long time. It was bouncing, wasn't it, last night?
Yeah, well, and I mean, you know, the old cliches, under the lights, whatever you want to call it, or
yeah,
you know, I'm not sure there's a different atmosphere, if I'm being honest, midweek to a Saturday. I just feel that the game dictates and the way the players play and how the game pans out. But I guess, you know, you could feel it when even at 0-0, even just before we scored, as soon as the subs come up and the new players get up and start running up and down the side, the crowd gets lifted. It's almost like the old-fashioned sort of like 90s manager where the crowd are a bit low, so you send your subs out to warm up just to try to encourage the crowd to get back on side. But you know, when Nunez stands, you know, runs up and down the line, and the other Egley when he's running up and down, you know, you can feel that atmosphere building, and then you know, what a first goal to really lift the crowd.
Yeah. Jim says a lot of oxygen, Matt. A lot of oxygen. By the way, the gentleman who sits next to me, who came on the Match Reaction show previously, said you're a very positive person. Which I absolutely, I know.
He needs to go back and watch 3 or 4 years.
Exactly, Lee. It's not kind of delved into the archive of Talking Town shows.
He's not. But to be fair, you did have good reason. I guess.
Yeah, he said you're very positive.
Well, I didn't like. Funny enough, I didn't like watching Ipswich in League One. I mean, shock horror.
I just couldn't believe it. It's come to my mind again. I should mention it. Connor Chaplin was the last player to score a hat trick. Says,
who was that against? Who was that against? I'm trying to think.
Doncaster.
What, Forest Green was it? Oh, Donny maybe.
Says Lee. You say
was it Don? It was before McKenna was asked, and he said it was before he arrived. So it was one of those games. It was one of those games.
Oh, Charlton. Is Charlton 6-0?
Charlton 6-0.
Says Mark.
Richard Chandler, who knows you very well, says Matt and Positive in the same sentence. I know, Rich. I couldn't believe it either. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Flashpoints with Match Bingo. A little bit more about those. Remember the word town, all in caps. I'll come back to it because there's got an awful lot of flashpoints to get through. First one of which is the first goal, Matthew Phillips. Jaden Philogene, the second goal. I mean, let's talk about his performance as a whole. Forget the flashpoints in individual order. How good?
Jaden.
Yeah, and I've put you in the middle for this one. How good was Jaden Philogene?
Yeah, I mean, like I just said at the top, it was great to see because I thought I've been very good. Look, going back to my negative viewpoints, I was very negative of Philogene when he joined. And I think a lot of people, I don't know if you would agree with me, Lee, it looked like Philogene didn't want to be here when he joined us in January, and His body language, I didn't think was great. And then he obviously gets the injury at Chelsea and that rules him out. But the return of Philogene in pre-season, I'm thinking back to the Aberdeen game where he kind of links up with Davis on the left-hand side. I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. And then obviously gets the injury against Auxerre, came back. You know, he looked lukewarm to me. But I mean, last night, I don't know if there was something in the air, but on the Sky commentary, they kind of focused on him and thinking, you know, Philogene on the left-hand side, you know, can fill the role that Amari has left behind. And they got it spot on because it was a superb hat-trick, wasn't it? He said at the end of the game, his left foot is actually his strongest foot. He scores 2 of the 3 goals on his right foot, doesn't he? Brilliant. I mean, he obviously blows hot and cold. And watching him last night was like, I mean, he wouldn't have looked out of place in like a Brazil side from way back when. Just that kind of tight control, taking players on, the step overs, running into the box, cutting in, shooting from distance. I mean, it was just tremendous. And I just think probably he's such a maverick kind of player. Like I say, he's almost like a Brazilian street footballer kind of style, really. I think you're just going to have to take with the rough with the smooth because I think he can be brilliant, as we saw last night. He could throw in a 5 out of 10 against Blackburn and not fancy it. I mean, he weren't great against Derby, was he? And that was only a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, what's going on with him? But brilliant to get a hat trick. Hopefully he can press on and he can be the Amari Hutchinson style talisman that we saw against Hull in the 3-3 and the Worldies and all that kind of thing in the promotion season. I think he can be that for us this year. Staying injury free.
And many fans have been saying over the last 24 hours, Amari who, Lee, and yesterday, Trevor says in our chat, Philogene, confidence player, now has to be consistent. And I think you really saw that because the first goal, he uses their defender's body shape, body positioning against him to shield it and guide it around the goalkeeper. It's a great finish. But from that moment on, he became unplayable. Ben Godfrey is, you know, he didn't have a great time when he was here. He's had, you know, not a great time while playing for Sheffield United last night. But in his, and I don't mean to defend him, Lee. In his defence, you know, Jaden was unplayable. He couldn't go tight because Jaden would, you know, with his tight control, would make him look a bit silly. If he backed off, Jaden then came at him with some real impetus, you know, real aggression in his run, which was not happening at Derby. When he received the ball at Derby, I don't know about you, it felt a bit timid from Jaden. Whereas last night, after that goal, he was unplayable and bang on it.
Well, you're playing to his strengths. I mean, I probably said before that if you get him the ball quick enough, he's going to have the space to run. Teams, you know, playing at Derby and you know, in a way at Preston where they're sitting so far behind the ball, by the time he gets the ball out wide, he's doubled up on. Sometimes there's 3 players there. So what we asking someone to do from a standing start to go past 3 defenders, that's when it's really difficult. What you found with all the goals yesterday was he's getting the ball earlier and he's getting the ball one-on-one. And I think, you know, saying about Godfrey, I think the right back has got a really good throw-in. The guy who's 10 million who flopped it at his feet, one of them throws.
Yeah.
Was he
Tanganga.
didn't get, yeah, he didn't get back. Yeah. He didn't get, you know, there was no cover on him. But yeah, he got the ball wide. I mean, the chance he had before the goal, where it was a quick free kick, I think. No, that was Greaves or O'Shea, knocks the ball diagonally over, and he takes it on the outside of his right foot, like a little flip with his heel, and brings it. If you go back and watch that one, where he goes inside on his left foot, shoots near post, and Cooper saves, you watch the touch for that. Honestly, you go back and he's just caught it on the outside of his foot and just gone. So that is really that's confidence. And I think he's had the injuries. When you're fit, I think you grow in confidence because you're not worried about your body. You're not worried about, oh, is my knee going to go again or whatever, or wherever the injury is. You're just full tilt on concentrating on the ball. But when you sit there live, when I sat there watching the 3 goals, because you're caught in the moment, you know they're all good goals. But when I watched the highlights reel when I got home, probably several times, I'll be honest, you then realise how good all 3 of those strikes were. I mean, Cooper, when the first one hits the back of the net, the goalkeeper's still diving. He's only just stuck, and it's a bit like that for the second one as well. And you just think, oh, he's hit that. But that's down to the strike as much as anything, because he's caught them all true. He's hit them all true. And I don't think you'll see a better hat-trick of strikes, in terms of that. You might get someone might run through 5 or 6 players and go around the goalkeeper and put one in. But for actual clean strikes, I don't think he'd be a hat-trick. I mean, Amari's 2 against Hull last year, towards the end of the season, where he's cut in on the opposite side of the pitch. They were 2 great strikes, but to have 3 in the same game is
agreed. Yeah,
is
really good goals. And his performance, as I say, unplayable, unstoppable. Jaden Philogene, as Matt messaged me last night for a show title, and that's what we went with. And it's something you hope he can build on. George Hirst got a goal, Matt. He could have had 2, but he was ruled offside for the second, which I felt was very tight. Very tight. Yeah. And looking back, it still is tight. How did you see his performance? Because at half time, I was thinking, I want to see Az on. I think George Hirst is not having a great game. He got his goal, but I still would say it wasn't George Hirst, vintage George Hirst. But how did you see his performance?
Just Trevor saying, does anyone remember Dalian's hat trick against Borough, which we've referenced many times with Cruncher on this show, haven't we? Yeah, it did. It was similar strikes to that. George Hirst, yeah, interesting. I don't think he had a great game. And I think on SofaScore he got like an 8 or whatever. I still don't think he had a brilliant game. There's still a question mark for me. I don't know if anyone else agrees, Lee. I'm not sure whether or not he is the answer for us over 46 games. I'm not 100% certain Ivan Azon is going to be that either. And he's obviously still finding his feet, isn't he, at Portman Road, playing in another new country, having moved from Spain to Italy and now to England. But George, he was unlucky on the offside and he took his opportunity. I mean, look, Cooper should have saved that, shouldn't he? It goes right for his legs. He had a terrible night at the office, Lee.
He did.
Cooper. He's a good keeper, him. But he just got exposed last night, you say, with the hat trick from Philogene, and then he just compounds into him, letting him on through his legs. But look, the limitations I think Hirst does have is offset against the fact that he does do all the running. He does press superbly well. He's really competitive. He's strong. These are the things that McKenna wants. These are the things that McKenna likes. That's why he's playing in the 9. I mean, look, we got lucky on 2 goals, didn't we? You got the Alex Matos cutout, which actually turns out to be a great assist for Philogene on the first one, and then Burrow's rebound obviously goes straight into Hirst's path, doesn't he, to allow him to score. But yeah, I mean, look, all power to Hirst. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's just a cog in the machine and playing the role that McKenna's asked for him. But it'd be interesting to see how that develops moving across the season. Look, he's having big shoes to fill. He's filling a £30 million striker's role. Delap to Chelsea. Of course, now Delap is out till Christmas, right? Bad luck with the hamstring injury. So George has got big shoes to fill. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I mean, look, if the whole team is divvying up goals like we saw last night, as you always say, Martin, it's always not on the 9, is it?
No.
You want impact from all positions, and you saw that in abundance last night. So great.
And I guess that's the question, isn't it? It matters about, interesting to see how that develops. But he got a goal last night, and that's kind of all you ask of him. And he could have had 2, and the second one is a well taken finish. I know it's ruled out for offside, but it's a very good goal. And had he walked off with 2 goals, you would perhaps talk a different way. But even with a goal, surely he's done his job, and he's doing what we need him to do.
Yeah, I think as a striker, you always want your striker to score the goals. And before last night, you're looking, I think, and you're thinking, well, Hirst isn't the fox in the box that we need to get us 25 goals, and we're not getting goals from anywhere else. But as soon as the goals start coming across the front 4 or the 3 behind Hirst, then that pressure looks a bit different. And then you're thinking to yourself, well, as Matt just said, Hirst plays the role really well. He's brought in because he's that profile of striker to play the system. Yes, he's going to chip in. He's going to chip in with goals, but he doesn't feel like he's not that clinical finisher. He's not, say, Smodics, someone like that, who you feel is going to score more often than not, really look sharp in the box, that real sharp turn. I think maybe it's something down to his sort of physique a bit, the way he runs a little bit and stuff like that, because he's quite tall, isn't he? But did he take his goal well? I mean, he
takes it early.
He's taken it early. He has it early, but you've only got to stand up. You could stop that, tie your shoelaces, and still put your foot behind that as a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
he just got himself. He just got him. I think because he took it early, he was still trying to position himself, and it's one of those ones where Hirst has kicked it at the optimum moment where the goalkeeper's just not got his feet right. But you know, if you don't shoot, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And I can't remember who it was inside the box square who, as soon as Hirst shot, his arms go up in the air and he's screaming away as if to say, "You didn't pass it to me," and then it just goes through the goalkeeper's legs and he's off celebrating as well. So, yes, I guess it's one of those moments. If the goalkeeper just picks that up, then we're all saying he should have squared it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think when in the Championship last time, I think Hirst carried more stock. It seems strange. I think he's probably improved, but I think we're now expecting more of him than maybe we did in the Championship, perhaps.
Yeah,
because
and you've seen you've seen Delap, haven't you, for a season? So you've seen perhaps that quality above, and you've seen what else can be brought into the side and the qualities that Delap had. So but you're right, he did have much stock, but then we weren't equally in this position of expected to do something. We all hoped Town would come up from League One and be a team that would flirt with the playoffs, establish themselves, some fans thought. But this time around, you're not only in the, you're back in the Championship, but you've got a lot more expectation on the shoulders of the football club as you did when you came up. And going to the fifth goal, to that expectation and all those different things, I want to talk about two players really. Jack Clarke, some have said he's better from the bench, and again, no player wants that label like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he comes on and he scores a goal yesterday again and looks really lively. But also I want to talk about Matasiwa in that, because he breaks the play up, wins the tackle, and away we go to score the goal. And I want to talk about both of them. I thought both were excellent. Obviously Matasiwa for a much more lengthier spell because he played the whole game. Matt, I'll come to you on Matasiwa. Lee, I'll come to you on Jack Clarke, and we'll start with Jack Clarke as the goal scorer. Jack Clarke, is he better from the bench? What are your thoughts there?
I don't think it. I wouldn't say it's. I think it's about the games that you play and how the games pan out and what you expect from the game. So I think it's easier to come on later in the game when the teams are tired, particularly when you're coming on and the score's already 3-0, 4-0, whatever it is. When by the time Clarke came on, and McKenna praised him in his post-match interview by saying, really pleased for Jack because he came on, he's closing the ball down, he's running, which I think he does anyway. But I think the game last night helped him for that. But I think he could start. I mean, he's not going to come in for Philogene now, is he? At the moment, if they're both the left-hand sided players, then Very you can't take Philogene out unless there's a knock or there's some resting going on. So I think he's going to play second fiddle. So at the moment, so that answers the question as in, he's better from the bench. But if you reverse the roles, imagine what Philogene would do if he came off the bench for the last 20 minutes with a tired defence. Mm-hmm. So I think it's easy to say that he's a super sub, but I think he offers more. I do think he offers more than that. But again, he's another player that we have to break quickly with, and he has to have the ball early to isolate one-on-one, because he'll cut inside the same as Philogene. But it feels like Philogene can go better down the outside, which he showed with the third goal, with the step over, taking it onto his left foot. And I think it was mentioned in commentary where, like the one I mentioned at the start of the game, where he's gone both ways. I haven't seen enough of Clarke doing that to be able to go on the inside on his right foot and go outside on his left enough. So I think there's a lot of improvement there in terms of that. And I think if you're starting the game, you've got to be able to keep the defender on us and be able to go both ways. So the defender's thinking, I'm not sure which way he's going.
Yeah, absolutely. I've dropped a link. If you want to come on the show and have your say, you're more than welcome to. It's your football club. It's a platform for fans, by fans. We've got Rob Holmes, Matasiwa, becoming my new favourite, getting better every game. And I mentioned that word expectation at the start of that conversation, Matt, because obviously he arrived with for a big fee, filling the shoes of the captain that was loved by all, if not by many, if not all. And he's growing into it. And I said, game one, he's one of the best players in the division. I love him. And I'm sticking by it, obviously, now. But what did you make of his performance yesterday?
Yeah, another really good, solid performance. Sky revealed that he's had some issues off the pitch settling into Suffolk, and that he's now on his third house.
Is he? Oh, I didn't realise.
Needs to get on location. Yeah. So you never know what's going on behind the scenes, do you? You're moving from France to England, as we say with Ivan is on, moving different country. You've got to try and settle. You've got to try and put in 8 out of 10 performances every week and please the supporters. And, he's just living box to box and moving house and everything. But I think I'm right in saying he actually had the least touches of any outfield player last night. Yet Here we are still talking about how he was pulling strings and orchestrating our attacks. And he just reads, like Morsey, he reads where he hasn't got particularly great pace or anything. He just reads the game really well in being able to anticipate where the tackle is or where the next pass is going to be. Simplicity is sometimes the greatest thing, isn't it? He does the simple things really well. It's going to be very interesting how we move forward now. Now Nunez has got into a level of fitness that we see him with about half an hour off the bench last night, who's actually going to fill that role next to him. But, Matasi was not taking the number 5 shirt by accident, has he? He wants to be the new that new favourite to fill Morsey's shoes in the squad. So, really, really encouraging. And we said, didn't we, like when all these new players were coming in, that I reckon by about the time we play Norwich at the start of October, hopefully we'd be into some kind of settled format and a starting 11 that you're seeing pretty regularly. And people have played their way into being used to playing in English football, the Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, and on it goes. And you're seeing it with Matasiwa now. It's great. Brilliant.
He was absolutely phenomenal for me last night. And again, as I have done in previous weeks, thoroughly enjoyed watching him play. He was breaking up play where he needed to. His positioning is so good because he's such an intelligent football player. He doesn't need to make a 20-yard dash to make up ground because he's already read the game. He's already in the position he needs to be in to make the tackle, to intercept it. He's reading the game and he's reading it at a really high level. And what I really love about Matasiwa is he wins the ball and he always looks to play forward. Always looks to play forward, see what he can do. And it might be the most simple 10-yard pass, but it's so good. And what he does is just allows Jaden, Schmodix when he plays, Clarke when he plays, McAteer when he started yesterday, Egley when he'll play, Nunez, when he'll allow all of these players at POM just to go and be themselves, be the best version of themselves, because they'll know that there's this player behind them just mopping up where he needs to mop up, be where he needs to be. And he's such, and to think now, we came down and we talked about last week the transfer recruitment and is there a plan and what's this and what's that. We came down from the Premier League, gentlemen, and we said that central midfield needs a massive upgrade. It needs to be upgraded. You need 2, 3, possibly 4 players. We cannot sit here and remove the 5-0 for a minute. This is not 5-0 sort of hysteria. If you can't sit there and honestly tell me with a straight face that midfield department is not so much better than when we came down from the Premier League, and that recruitment plan, that policy that we criticise, we question, we pull apart, hasn't played out in front of your very eyes to be what it is today, and to say spot on Mark Ashton and Cohen, well played, because Nunez, Kayus, and Matasiwa, that is a massive upgrade, is it not?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And look, you've only had a taste of Nunez from the bench last night.
Absolutely.
And I'm just seeing the guys there saying that, he's going to be kind of, well, we've said it before. He can be that kind of Magilton-esque style playmaker, really. The quarterback, as ITC Beard called him. I totally agree with that. It's going to be interesting how they manage the time, because I think Matasi was always going to be your CDM moving forward if fit. So they're going to rotate Cahuste and...
He's the only one.
Isn't he? Yeah, and I mean, look, Nunez has played CDM before for Norwich, so I mean, he could fill into that role. But really, you want him to be taking the ball from Matasiwa and then finding Philogene on the left, or Egley, McAteer, whoever it might be on the right hand side, to get those attacks going. And as Lee rightly said at the top of the thing, we go into the Birmingham game at St Andrews, we was all looking at our bench going, bloody hell.
Yeah, now
we're missing some players here. Now you're seeing players come on at like 3-4-0 up. Yeah. And we look like we're back to that bench that kind of got us promoted, really. In games like Bristol City, when you're 2-1 down, you come back and win 3-2. You've now got that strength. Bloody hell, you're bringing Smodix off the bench. 30 goals, top scorer 2 seasons ago in this very division.
Yeah.
So, and Akpom starting again, another 30-goal man. So, you're swapping Akpom out for Smodix or whatever, like for like, 30-goal strikers.
You bring on Sindra Valiegli, who's the player carrying the highest fee within the division. And you're right, the bench is so different. And I want to talk about Nunez. I want to talk about Akpom. I want to talk about Egley. But before we do that word, I told you to remember, Town, all in caps, because we're partnered with Matchbinger to give you a deposit bonus. You can get a 200% bonus with the code TOWN, all in caps. The deposit bonus is bonus cash. It can't be withdrawn, but the winnings can be. A 10% bonus for using the word town, all in caps. But remember, terms and conditions apply. Match bingo combining the excitement of live sport, the thrill of bingo. Your card has 15 random events from a live football match, and you watch them get marked off as the game unfolds. It's a brand new way to enjoy live football. You must be 18 or over. As I said before, terms and conditions apply. Whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. But the code is town, all in caps. Right, we've got some comments. We've got AD Croucher, hopefully coming on. I see his name at the bottom of the screen, but I don't see a picture and I don't see a microphone attached, so I don't know what's going on there. Dominic, again, you did. It was right at the top of the show. You said, did I miss my announcement? You did, but I'll say it again. Thank you so much for your generosity. It's really, honestly appreciated. As Mark, Wally Egley looks decent too. Excited to see what more game time we'll see him progress. Adrian says felt safe with Furlong right back. He's at right back. The other players are going to felt safe with Furlong at right back. It's his shirt. The other players are going to fight to get it off him. I think is what Adrian meant to say. I think maybe autocorrect jumped in there and stopped Adrian from saying it. Now, spotlight time. I want to talk about. I need people to talk about it. Nunez, Egley, Furlong, etc. So let's start with Nunez. Came off the bench. Round of applause. Cue the lovely Norwich songs that you get that are also cordial and nice. And away we go, right, Lee? Because there he is, as ITFC Beard would say, playing quarterback, pulling strings, making it tick. And my days, chef's kiss. What a player.
What a time to come onto the pitch. What a time to come on the pitch.
Yeah, true.
No pressure on him. No pressure on him at all. Looked the player that we've, that we were there to sign. He's improved our midfield from last season. I agree with Matt. I think our midfield's better this now than it was in the Premier League. But
it really is.
It simply is. And he's another player to add to that. And his enthusiasm for it all. He had a couple of raking passes from memory where he's picking players out. So he's that sort of he's that Hollywood player. I mentioned the quarterback. It's how many Hail Marys is he gonna chuck, and how many people are going to get on the end of. But he can play it neat as well. I've not seen enough of him really to know what he's like defensively, and how he is in the tackle and such like. But he's got quality, and we have a genuine threat from a set piece now. We have some, we've seen it against us, although we did cheat by moving the ball half a yard to the right to get it.
Some wounds don't go, do they? Some wounds just don't go.
Yeah, well, they don't. Some they don't. But I mean, he moved it to the right, and that happened with someone the other week I saw on the game. But he's moved it. But anyway, he looks like we've got a threat from set pieces, so they're not going to be wanting to give free kicks around the box when you've got people like Philogene, Clarke, Egley, Akbon, Smodics all running at pace and power, a bit more pace and power, rather than us trying to just pass it around the top of the box, trying to flick a ball in and header it. There's a lot more pace there now, and I can see us winning free kicks, and I can see him popping a couple in.
Yeah, he came close with a free kick yesterday. And Matt, first of all, I'm a bit, this player was playing at Norwich. I mean, that surprises me because the guy's class. I mean, that must have been really nice to watch.
What was he doing there?
I don't know. It must have been really nice to watch as a Norwich City fan. Second of all, price tag was questioned. If that's what we're going to look forward to expect over the course of the next 40 odd games with more minutes, I think that price tag might, in time, look a bit cheap, if I'm honest. And third of all, I'm going to be a bit controversial. Because I love Jens Kajust, and I do. We've had many conversations, me and you, about would you sign him, would you not? And I was all in favour of Jens. I'm actually probably leaning more towards a Nunez Matasiwa midfield than I am a Jens Kajust Matasiwa midfield. I think Nunez has to play. He's the key to unlock these defences we've seen in the first 4 weeks, and we're going to see in future weeks. He can pick a pass. You saw it when he picked out Smodics. He's just in the middle of the Sheffield United half, and he just spots Smodics around the back post. Beautiful ball. Smodics takes it on the volley, shot on target, doesn't go in. But it's that type of play, that type of vision that we need in the midfield. That's my midfield for me moving forward.
You want the kind of pass that Sheffield United's Matos made in the rebound. Philogene. That's what you actually want from a blue shirt, isn't it? That kind of style across the same kind of yardage, really. I mean, I've said till I'm blue in the face, really. Kouste doesn't really offer you a lot going forward, but what he does do is, again, like Matasiwa, like Morsey, when he was with us, reads the game well. Yeah. He tackles well. He intercepts well. He brings the ball forward well. I feel like he's limited in possession, bringing the ball forward. Though that's the issue. I do say it's whether or not Nunez can actually do those things as well as Kouste in terms of, when you've got your backs to the wall a little bit, you're trying to cut out possession, you're trying to break up play from an opposition attack. Can he do those things that we know Kouste can do? So we'll just have to wait and see. But he has played this more essentially defensive midfield role at Carrow Road before, so I'm pretty certain he probably can. But it's going to be a conundrum for McKenna to manage their game time, especially when Nunez is our player and actually Kouste is still a Napoli player, isn't he? So it's going to be interesting moving forward. But what we said before, we didn't really have a lot of abundance of options in midfield, and now we have. So it's all about managing it. It was funny, just before we go on to the next thing, Mine. It was funny that someone had put in a bitter Norwich fan and said, "Oh well, he's always injured." And I worked out last season he'd averaged 70 minutes a game, which is more than what Kouste did, to be honest with you. So I think that was probably just them being a little bit bitter. But yeah, it's exciting. And goes back, Lee, to what we said before. Like we said in the summer, how let everyone going. How does Ipswich come back stronger? There's element of wishful thinking in there. Well, you bring in the likes of Nunez, to come and sit next to Matasiwa and be that midfield, like you rightly say, Martin, to take you back into the Premier League. And of course, what's exciting about Nunez is the context around it. It wasn't just a signing of a really good playmaker. You've taken him from your hated rivals.
Yeah.
So the context of that as well. I mean, look, it obviously sits nicely on his shoulders. I mean, he looks stoic as anything. I don't know, anything bothers him. When they were on the cameras, when he was taking his corner, just like he looked like a general, just waiting for his soldiers to get into the right position. So I think he's got all the minds. We need a good mindset, don't you, to cross the divide? No one's done it in 40 odd years for a fee.
For a fee, I was going to say, Andy Marshall did it.
Forget Andy Marshall.
Although some wish he probably hadn't. But he did. We've got some comments. As you can see, the screen's gone to a 4 squared screen because we've got some people coming in to have their say before we do. We've got Dominic, he's hitting the breakers, old Dom. He's saying, Sheffield United were awful last night, but we mustn't get too carried away. It was like England beating someone and saying we're going to win the World Cup. Small steps. Have you not heard, Dom?
For you, though, isn't it? It's fans for you. That's fans for you.
Have you not heard, though? We are going to win the World Cup. And we're going to win the league. It's all going to happen in the same year. Believe in it, right?
Just like 5 past Serbia.
Absolutely. Yeah, Khalid Matasiwa settled in now. The engine is settled in. Engine in the midfield, breaks up attacks, wins the ball back. Absolutely, Khalid. Thank you ever so much for your comment. I couldn't agree more. Love Matasiwa. Move over Jack Taylor because there's a new
appreciation. Martin's fickle now. Look at this. Matasiwa fan club.
From day one. All right. I want it known from day one. You've always liked
midfield players. It started with Raheem Harper. All right, we'll end it there, shall we?
I thought you were going to mention Geron Endor. That's where I thought you were going to start.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, look, you were ahead of the curve. You did love him too, didn't you? Yeah,
I
absolutely.
did. And Matt Holland. Always had an affinity. I've always fancied myself as a midfield player. You see,
but not as good as Tyreek Backinson, as Mike D says. Wow. Now playing trade at Orient.
There we go. But this is a side question before we bring someone in. When did the midfield stop referring to it as a 4? Like now you hear it, who's the 6? Or like I always grew up thinking the central midfield player was a 4. 4 or 8 was your midfield. 5 and 6 was just centre halves.
I used to just work it out. Now Bobby Robson numbered out. I was like Tyson was 4, Muren was 8, Walkie was 7. That was my upbringing of how midfield should look. Perhaps we were too spoiled. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. That's how it is. Or how it should be.
I see it on social media. Oh, who's going to play in the 6? I'm thinking, what? O'Shea and Grieve, surely. Like this. I didn't know it was a conversation. And then I think, oh no, they mean
Osman was 5, Terry Butcher was 6, Millsy used to be 3 if he was at left back. George Burley was number 2 at right back.
Yeah.
Paul Cooper number 1, shot.
Yeah.
Stop renumbering positions.
Yeah.
Mariner was 9, Gates was 11, and Brazil was 10.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. That is the perfect system.
Yeah, we created it. And that's the reason why us three are not on TikTok, because we're all clearly of a
Too old.
certain age.
Too old.
You said it, not me. Hi, TFC Beard. I'll bring you in first. What's your thoughts this evening?
Different team today. I've got the
Jade.
Oh, shout out the Cowboys. America's
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Who knows what he's talking about right now?
no. I'm a Steelers fan mostly, but I've got a few tops. So I thought we're shouting out Nunez being
Nice.
the quarterback. So got to bust out one.
Absolutely. And you were right on him because yesterday he was in that brief cameo playing quarterback.
Yeah, and he's played. You were saying like Kayust and stuff. I think he had something different. Kayust is more groundwork. I think he likes to run with the ball more. Where Nunez, he likes to drop slightly back and then he looks for them pings. And it, just like a quarterback does in the pocket, he's looking for that space. He finds it, boom, straight to where we need. Run that route, touchdown, baby. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen.
He's talking my language.
Everyone else is like, what the hell's he saying?
So happy
And
right
I'm
now.
just lighting up, thinking this is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
We're getting NFL talk in on soccer, but you were right.
Talking touchdowns. That's what we
I
need.
even just called it soccer. Apologies.
Yeah. No, you need in the bin.
Yeah. So you mentioned yes, you were right on him, but how else did you see it play out? It's 5 goals. It's a 5-star performance. But Darnell Furlong, he needs some love tonight.
Well,
because he was
when we announced him, was I not the one waxing lyrical about him based on his stats and stuff like that on there? And I said
you were.
he's going to add that calmness and thingy like that. And okay, I agree with a bit like Don what he's saying. You can't get too carried away, but there is hints of positivity there that you can actually get a little bit excited about. He added that defensive solidness. He kind of went under the radar in comparison to the rest of the team. He wasn't that fancy. Had he scored that corner, out of this world, but he done his job just perfectly under the radar, happy, just boom. I never felt threatened at that right side with him there. He's just like there, all ever present.
Yeah, and I said on my match
Got
reaction
assist?
show,
Got an assist for the Philogene hat-trick goal. I think it was.
And I said on the reaction show, Matt, I said in regards to Darnell Furlong, so good to see a player that can win his duels, do his job, and as Beard says there, you can just be safely assured that nothing's coming down that right-hand side. And, he won't get bit on the inside. He won't get bit on the outside. He reads the game. Just a real, again, with Nunez, if that in time, that fee will prove to be cheap. I think this fee will prove to be cheap if that's the level of play this season.
Yeah, I totally agree. Some of us were asking for Darnell Furlong 2-3 years ago. If you've been watching the Talking Town archive, that's my positivity. But yeah, I mean, look, I've always liked him because I like the throw. I like the throw threat. Look, we've even seen it, have we?
No,
we didn't
even see that.
Haven't seen the Football League's longest throw yet. Look, he's a really good signing. You only need to know how bit like Chris was like Crystal West Brom fan cameo on here. He was like blasé about it. I know Chris too well. He's gutted to lose him. And as you rightly told Chris, mine, he was captain for all the games up until the transfer to Town. So that speaks volumes of what kind of leader he is. And what he does now is actually fill the Twanzebe role, doesn't he? Because there was a bit of a question mark over there. You've got Harry Clarke, who seems to be constantly injured or sent out on loan. Ben Johnson, jury's out there. He's a good player, but never seems to be more than maybe a 6 out of 10 at best. I just think Furlong probably can come in and fill the boots of Twanzebe.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Johnson. Oh, sorry. I think Johnson adds a bit more sort of like attacking prowess, but defensively he's lacking, and I think Furlong adds to that. And with his leadership style, he can help Dara O'Shea at the back there. Just generalise, just keep the line calm. He's been there in the Championship. He's done it all, and he's going to hold us back. He's going to be making sure that we're there, we're ready.
Yeah,
strong West Brom presence there. I mean, they've all played with each other before in this division. Kipro on the bench, Townsend sadly out injured, Palmer, O'Shea, Darnell Furlong. So that's a unit there that doesn't really, we've seen it in the comments there, doesn't need to gel, Martin. I know already. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Beard, how was your celebratory crumble yesterday?
Mate, it was so good. So good.
I mean, what goes into celebratory crumble? What was in there?
Oh,
love, passion, a bit of excitement, but the only thing crumbling this season is my food, not the town.
Oh yeah, well, fingers crossed to that. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And anything, before I let you go, and you've been a great cameo. You've really, really brought a great stuff to the show. Appreciate you coming on. Anything else on your mind, on your heart?
very happy with all of the debutants today last night. I think not one of them really done really badly. I would like to see more from Akpom. I think he needs a goal, to really sort of like cement himself. Again, he's another confidence player. But on the whole, I think we looked good, even coming off the bench. Tux was correct about Clarke. I think, playing that second string to come on just to add something different when there's tired legs on. I think the team can have a lot to be happy about there.
Excellent. Beard, appreciate you coming on, my man. Look after yourself. Paul's in the room. Welcome in, Paul. We've got a €5 super sticker from David. David, appreciate it. And Dominic Dean, the generosity does not stop with Dominic. Dominic, again, thank you so much. Gifted 5 Talking Town memberships. That's 5 people now members. You can become a member by hitting the join button on YouTube. $4.99. Cancel it. I think it's any point, but T's and C's are all there. They'll help you out. But you can get access to Discord and other perks. Tomorrow I'm doing a members show tomorrow morning. Join me with your coffee in hand, 10 a.m. We're going to go through some player ratings. I might even do a set piece or two, although yesterday they looked pretty good, to be fair, so I might not, because I only like to moan. Don't know, right? Let's stick on brand.
You can go through the Sheffield United side. I mean, they're all about 4 out of 10 on some of the apps in their defence.
They're not my problem, frankly.
No, exactly that. No, there's someone else's issue.
Exactly. There's podcasts out there that will cover them. I cover the Super Blues. But Dominic, thank you ever so much. And Beard mentioned Akpom Lee. What did you make of his performance? I actually felt with him in the side yesterday, and I don't know if you saw it from your vantage point, and if you did, what you think of it, that we actually, at times, and you wouldn't say it as a 4-4-2, but our shape out of play and occasionally in the transition was that of a 4-4-2, where Akpom would be a lot closer to George Hirst than a Schmodix or a Chaplin would be. And there was times where I looked at it and I actually thought, that's more of a 4-4-2 shape. That's more of a 2-man up top, which I think Akpom affords you, doesn't it? Because he's got that versatility.
Yeah, I think it was quite noticeable. I think first half, where the space was a little bit limited and we were, I guess, playing on the counter-attack, really, he picked up that position close. He seemed a lot closer to Hirst in the central spaces, but he was getting the ball and they weren't picking him up. And the great thing about that is that when he got the ball, he was turning and he was running. There were times where he was running forward with the ball. Now, Chaplin wouldn't give you that. Chaplin gives you something different. He'll pick up the ball in the pocket and he'll pick a pass out wide or something like that. So I think Akpom has been brought in because he's more direct. Schmodix is similar in that respect of trying to drive forward with the ball. He doesn't link up. He doesn't link up the play quite so well as say Chaplin did at the time. So I think he's a different player. I think the fact that we've got him, he's powerful, he's strong, and I think he's helped drive the play forward more quickly rather than just going out wide and set and down the centre, which means you have to tighten up in the centre, which leaves your right winger or your left winger, however you want to phrase them, Philogene, McAteer, gives them a little bit more space. And I think with that central drive, the defence squeezes up and leaves it a bit wider. Whether that's a tactic that teams have to play. You either have to, keep either side of your box tight and leave the winger out there. But if we do that with the wingers we've got, with time and space, they're going to run at you and hurt you. So I thought he was unlucky not to get a goal yesterday, because that cross where Hirst missed that cross from Davis, it was a good touch from Cooper. It was a good touch from Cooper when you see the replay, and he's just got his hand to it and knocked it up. Because I think had he not got a touch on that, then Akpom would have got his goal. He would have scored from 3 yards. And the great thing was, if he hadn't have got that goal, then McAteer was standing behind him. And we've talked about this on the show, and I've heard many other people come on the show and say, we're too laboursome, we're trying to cross the ball in the box, there's not enough people in the box. And I think that's where it's different. There's just a little bit more power and more late arrival in the box than what we've had before, and Akpom will definitely give us that for sure. And I was quite surprised how technical he was. I don't know why I was surprised, because I've not seen a great deal of him, but he did link up the play really well. But he got the ball when he had the space, and he drove forward with it, and that's going to
Yeah.
put the fear into the defenders. And of course, Hirst can then peel off and create more space. So, really positive for me, I have to say. I think.
And you obviously agreed with Beard, Matt, in regards to he needs a goal. So, do you go along with what Lee was talking about there, and how you saw him play, and also mentioned Stindravali, Egley, and McAteer, because that is going to be a battle for the right hand side that you think he's going to start heating up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, at the moment I'll start with Akpom. See, there's two stories going on with Akpom, isn't there? You've got Akpom's been brought in and he can play in that 10 role, which is where he got all the goals for Borough, the 27, 30 goals, whatever he got, that got him the move to Ajax in that 10 role. But we know he is traditionally actually a centre forward and has played in that role for Ajax himself. So where we're talking about whether or not Hirst is going to last the whole season or whatever, we know Akpom can go in there. But when you see Akpom on the pitch playing in the 10 and we're saying he needs a goal, he needs to get involved in the game, then what's the next conversation after that? Why did we let Chaplin go? Because he's the poster boy, one of the poster boys, along with Wes Burns and Morsey, of the double promotions. And no one wanted to see Connor Chaplin go. At least to ball me, because I think when we talk about players that can read the game really well and be really dangerous at this level in and around the box, Connor Chaplin ticks all those boxes. But as McKenna and Ashton said in the interview with Matt Holland, he's going to Portsmouth to play regular games. So they've obviously seen something in Akpom that is going to keep Connor out of the side. Hence, he's now at Fratton Park and not at Portman Road. So we can only hope for the best for Chuba. And, you know, look, he 2 seasons ago, he gets 30 goals for Borough. So, I mean, look, the proof's in the pudding. And as I said earlier, Smodic's exactly the same style of the numbers. So you got that arsenal of goals right in the squad there. But I do agree with Lee in terms of Akpom needs to show something. Like, did he even have a shot last night? I mean, he sort of pretty average numbers. I think he got about 6.3 out of 10. So, I mean, that's going to have to raise up a level. And then I would expect Eagley probably to come in for McAteer at some point. I don't think you're going to leave the Championships record transfer fee on the bench for too long. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, look, they're polar opposites, aren't they? There's polarity there in that McAteer comes along without any bells and whistles, was a surprise signing. Whereupon Eagley, there was a bit of hype around him. He gets brought onto the pitch in front of the crowd with Nunez, and like he's got the price tag and all that kind of thing. And there's excitement around that, and he's Norwegian, and you're thinking Haaland and all that kind of good stuff. So they're kind of polar opposites, really. But I do like what I see with McAteer. I think I can see why they brought him in, because, you know, not to sound like Ashton, but he ticks the boxes that group that McKenna likes. I think he's there. But he's got more of a feel of a squad player at the moment. But as Lee rightly says, you lament last season in the Championship, we didn't used to get bodies in the box for, you know, at the far post. He was right there last night and could have scored that himself if it hadn't kind of just come off Akpom's head or came off Cooper or whatever it was. And then you've got returning Wes Burns as well. And Philogene can play over there as well. I mean, Jack Clarke can play over there if needs be. So again, you now start seeing people can play, are coming back and can play in these roles.
And I think... Go on, Lee. Go on.
Sorry. I was just saying there's just endless combinations of what we can do, and I think, you know, and that if you take the back four, let's call it a back four. You've got the combinations in midfield, the midfield two. You've got two players there in Kajust and in Nunez who can play both those roles. You've got that. You've got all those. He's got all those options at his disposal as McKenna, and going forward, you've got exactly the same thing. They bought McAteer because he can play that system almost a bit like George Hirst centre forward. He fits the profile, fits the system that we're trying to play. But with Egley, what you've got, you know, he came on, he looked unassuming as in his shape, though for a 19-year-old, he does already look a specimen for a 19-year-old in terms of his physicality. But when he got the ball around the edge of the box, and, you know, I guess he can take credit for the 5th goal, because we've been crying out again, not just to get people in the box, but have a bloody shot. And he's just pummeled. That shot he had before then, he nearly knocked that player's head off.
It was like a rocket.
I mean, that was right below me, and you could hear, even with the loud crowd, you could hear him kick that.
I was right behind that.
Yeah, that was absolutely flying. But the one that he did, that then he got hit on goal where it took a deflection, and then it falls to Clarke and he scores. We wouldn't have scored that goal last season or before. So you can see there's the team has evolved. It feels like some of the areas that we didn't, where our weaknesses, what we talked about last year, have been addressed, certainly in this game anyway. And you've got, I mean, Egley's going to be frustrating at times because I think he's going to be shooting like he did last night. And that shot, probably, that one would have probably rolled through Cooper's legs and just crossed the goal line. You know, it was that sort of shot in the end. But the one he hit earlier was fantastic. But you can just see it all gelling together. And I think with McAteer and Egley, don't forget you've got Furlong, who did have a good game. He was not quiet game, but he went sort of almost under. He did everything well without being spectacular, in my view, particularly going forward. So a lot of our good stuff came down the left-hand side because you've got an established side of the pitch there. I think there's more to come from the right-hand side. And I think as Furlong gets more into it and he looks more of a threat going forward, then you'll see more out of McAteer and probably Egley as well, because you're going to have those combinations, and Burns to come back as well. You're going to have those combinations a little bit better, I think.
I don't think Clarke would have scored that goal last season. Again, I mean, I don't know if like he gets the penalty against Derby that saves us the point. Hero of Portman Road. Then he comes on last night. He looks like he's got more of a mindset about him. I mean, he actually out hustles, out bustles. He's not the biggest, is he? To actually score that fifth goal. Yeah, but I think probably he obviously feels a lot more comfortable at this level against his standard of opposition. Maybe, I don't know, but I mean, all strength to him. Do you know what I mean? We want to see this coming from Jack Clarke, stepping up for last minute pens. I mean, that's cojones, isn't it? And then out hustling at 4-0 a defender to make it 5 when the game's done and dusted anyway. Just shows you a fantastic mindset after a very difficult debut season for Town in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, AD Crouch, welcome in. How are you? What's your thoughts this evening? Thanks for waiting. Thanks for waiting.
AD. All right.
Hello, everybody. All right.
Good evening. Thanks for waiting. Sorry for the delay.
Okay, mate. Okay. We have liftoff. We have liftoff at last. I commented to you, didn't I, Martin, about the fact that I had actually watched the game again. Actually, when I got home last night, and I was on such a high. I watched it last night, and I thought, I got up this morning. I thought, as things are going in threes with the hat tricks, I thought, I'll watch it again. You see, so I watched it 3 times now. So I should know that there's something about it now, shouldn't I? Really, but yeah, that was what a night it was, mate. I've got all sorts of three word phrases here. Wow, wow, wow! Win at last! What a difference! Three different scores. Nunez nearly scores. A clean sheet. And we must have had a good international break. That's all I can say. Even though half the team was probably on internationals anyway, but there's something's clicked, isn't it? The winning feeling, keep the faith. What an atmosphere! What a result, and what a night! You know, it's. I actually came like. I arrived at the ground and I love the evening games. Unlike Lee, I realise, you know, he doesn't so actually matter whether it's a day or a night, but there is something special about it, isn't there? Arriving there with the floodlights on, everything else, you're all geared up for it. The sky cameras are there, and we've actually won in front of Sky as well, and so that's always an iffy as well. I have to agree actually with you about the. I thought actually Urban Leaf was on was a different natural player last night. He sort of got that the crosses in, especially for Hirst and Akpom as well, and it was nearly there. You know, if we sort of stuck a foot out or something like that, then we would have been there, wouldn't we? And it was. I actually thought that there was just sort of actually general organisation was there. Yes, there's a long way to go. Yes, I realise that, but it seems to be a sort of right. We're up for this now. You know, we've had all the outgoings and everything else, and it's very easy to think of nostalgia and think, oh yes, we had this player, we had that player, but there was only two left in the end, wasn't there? Of the original of when we came up actually with the Premier League. But that was, but there's we've got to put that behind us now and sort of think, well, on the performance of last night, you know, things have clicked and everybody seems to be singing off the same hymn sheet, as I say, don't they? And it just seems a general, oh yes, the togetherness will come, but there's actually something that's clicking there. You know, everybody is sort of excited, the crowd's excited, and it was just, you know, I'm just on actually such a high. It really was. I actually must admit though that I was one of the actual supporters that underestimated the actual things that Philogene can do, and I was thinking, well, why the heck is he in the team? But he's proved me wrong. He's proved a lot of other people wrong. That he is class. And last night, wow, yeah. And I actually thought that the second goal was good, but when he fired that third one in, wow, do you see it? It sort of went in and just bent in.
Yeah, it was a great goal. Great. And you're not alone, AD. Many people now are quickly looking to see what they wrote about Jaden Philogene, because he is proving, if he can carry last night on, a lot of people wrong, including myself sat here. I think I've probably questioned it. I know you have, Matt, in terms of, you know, his performances over recent weeks, and that's football, right? 1 minute you're a hero, the next you're not. The next 1 minute you're not a hero, and the next you can be, and that's what we love. And I said last on the reaction show, Matt, coming into the game, people were saying, you know, 6s, 7s, or 8s on our confidence meeting. Obviously, they were proved right, but weeks before, defeats or draws, and it just, like, football can change around so quickly, and we can go from being the worst team in the league to the best team in the league in 90 minutes.
Exactly. You need a 90 minutes like that just to instill confidence, as we said earlier, and alleviate pressure. I mean, at the risk of losing my positive tag, not all positives, I still think our playing out from the back is a little bit dicey. We gave the ball away very cheaply in areas last night.
I love it.
I'm thinking against better opposition, more confident opposition, teams that are on the roll and winning games. Got to be really careful there. We did get away with it because it was Sheffield United, I think. But I mean, look, we're used to that's McKenna ball playing out from the back, but I do feel like we do give the ball away a little bit cheaply. You know, you had Greaves backheader right in the first few minutes to Palmer that went out for a corner. I mean, they're needless mistakes that can lead to the opposition scoring goals. So they're just things we've got. But look, people are going to make mistakes. Like, I'm not asking for perfection. But when you are playing out from the back, you are creating from a pattern of play that you've worked again on the training ground. So you've got to be able to deliver that almost 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And I think against better opposition, we could come unstuck. But I mean, look, it's on a game-by-game basis. But when you've got when you're putting in great performances, and remember, we're playing catch-up at the moment. We are 14th in the table, albeit close to the top 6. We want to put runs together. We don't want to make stupid mistakes. And how many times, Martin, have we been on this show in previous seasons and said, we've got to cut out stupid mistakes? We don't want that to be an Achilles heel again, certainly when we're playing catch-up. But when you've got the goal power that we showed last night, it doesn't really make much difference. But that's just fun, something to be mindful of. And I think McKenna probably got that as well. He said, look, it was a great performance. There's still things to be worked upon. I would say that's probably one of the things he'll be looking at to try and progress this season.
Okay. Hola, que tal, David? Gracias for the €5. He is in Spain right now. He says, hi from Spain, guys. Appreciate it, David. Thank you ever so much. And if I've learnt the first elements of Spanish, so I'm learning Spanish, right? I should have just said, hello, David. How are you? Thank you. But so you can let me know, David, whether I.
This is when we've got Nunez and Ivan on the show. They're going to be coming on. Mike will do their entire interview in Spanish with them.
No pressure, Martin. None whatsoever.
Challenge
Cheers
for
that.
you.
No, not happening. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself because I'm struggling. Ridge viewer, will there be full houses most times this season? I would have thought so, particularly with play like that. AD, before I let you go, anything else on your mind, on your heart? What are you thinking? Anything else at all?
Yeah, I just think we've just got to think ahead now, and this is the start of that is something. Well, we can only go up from now. It's and it's got as I said earlier on, we had a bit of the spark actually wasn't there, but because the spark is there now, our championship rocket has now got liftoff.
Absolutely.
And we go from here, and I firmly believe the only way is up. Come on, the team.
That's a great line. Someone should make it a song. Lady, we appreciate you coming on the show. Look after yourself. All the best. Can't see it catching on though. The only way is up. But there we go. Right, we've done. Anything else, fellas? I think we've really chewed the fat on that fantastic evening. Unless I'm wrong, is there anything else on either of yours? Heart or mind?
Let's hope it rolls over later next week at Ewood Park against Blackburn. We'll get that first away win on the board as well, and then you've got the momentum, haven't you, to try and look. We've obviously got the goal power to be a top 2 side. We're playing catch up. Let's go there next week and put in a really good performance. I see they won today. I think 1-0 at Watford. I think it was. So
yeah, it was Watford.
They're going to be kind of they lose to Norwich at home, didn't they? Albeit I think with 10 men, and they go to Watford and win. So obviously a bit of a hit and miss side. Town just got to be consistent. I mean, I ain't saying that last night's got to be the bar each time, but as Lee rightly said, if we can go into these games and counter with that kind of presence, physicality, and pace, not many teams will live with Ipswich. But it's the key is being consistent, isn't it?
Yeah, very much.
I agree. Having being able to play 2 different ways now is really gonna help us. And I guess technically and numerically we are playing catch up, but it is still really early. I can't see teams running away with 3 teams like the other seasons, because those teams are starting to struggle a bit. And Ipswich may be one of those teams. I don't know what 4th place, 3rd or 4th was. You've got 90 points, but I can't see 3 teams running away with it. And all the games I've seen, the positive point is we've now got a full squad for a club that had no transfer policy, no plan. We haven't done too bad, have we? We've come out with really on the good side of that. So it's all positive. Yeah, we're not going to win every week, but the team's getting better, and I think we're in for an exciting season.
Given how disappointing most of the window was when you speak, all
right, fellas. I've already said well done, Mark Ashton. What else do you want me to do? Send him a fruit basket, some flowers. I've already said well done, Mark Ashton. All right, I've already apologised for criticising most of the window. What more do you want from me? Until
that time, Mark, we were doing the show with Tux, and then suddenly someone said Nunez signing for Ipswich, and we were like, "What the hell's this? Is it a joke?" Then it was, as AD rightly says, then it was liftoff.
So here's a quick, sorry, man, I know you want to go. Here's a quick question. If we'd have signed Hackney, would we have signed Nunez?
Oh, that's a question. I don't know. You need
Probably not.
You need to
I think Hackney would have been it. That would have been the sign with that money. Yeah.
You need to give Matt Holland a call, who can then put the question forward to Ashton or McKenna. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how it works. I don't know, but no. In all seriousness, you are both right. For a team that all the critique through the window, it paid off. But we did what other teams have done so far this season. That's beat a team who there's all sorts of question marks around the manager. It's got to be a springboard now. It's got to be a foundation. And I think the way we've done it is really positive. It can give so much confidence to so many players that perhaps needed the confidence. Jack Clarke gets a goal from open play. Jaden Philogene doesn't just get a goal, he gets 3, and he's now going to be on a real high in a trajectory now of such massive confidence. Those are the things that a 1-0 win that you beat a team you should beat don't give you. This is a win that can really give so much. Yeah,
statement win. Albeit against the bottom side, it's still a team that was had 1 foot in the Premier League last season, the playoff final, and has parachute payments, and spent 10 mil on that Tanganga, who we made look like a mug last night.
Absolutely. 51% of people are saying one game at a time, and that's where we're kind of saying as well on the show. And talking of statements, don't forget Stonemarket Osteopaths. We are partnered with them, providing quality osteopathic physiotherapy services in Suffolk since 1985. If you want professional, experienced care, give them a call on 01449613633 and tell them Talking Town has sent you. If you want professional, experienced care, I mean, everyone does, right? I mean,
that's like part of the that's the standard, isn't it?
Yeah, I would hope so. So give them a call 01449613633 because they will look after you. Tell them the Gov at Talking Town has sent you, Stonemarket Osteopaths. Now, I don't know because I don't know if I've got what they call the mirrored camera on. So I'm going to point this way. Who am I pointing to right here?
Matt.
Lee. I've got Lee. It's pointing to Lee on my one.
Do you know what? Do you know what? It don't matter. These two have been on the show with me. I've been the staff. Thank you ever so much. Have a great evening. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.